So what I'm saying about last week that we had to change in the structure that we have here in the hackerspace because we wanted to keep the purity of the hackerspace that you can't get money from the hackerspace. It's not a commercial place that you can get money from. So the first structure that we made before, it was based on four members in the board with the different percentages. Of course, one head of the board, one member is the head of the board, and also the members of the hackerspace had a percentage also in the decision making. At the same time, these percentages it's separated by the income of the hackerspace. But we had also the members that the income that will come to the members, it will be used to buy another stuff and equipments for the hackerspace. So they will decide what. So that was the basic thinking about the first structure. But we had thought about it because we might have big projects like art projects, like the game that I'm building for the municipality of Taibe here. So we made another thought that we already made a community here that a lot of people are really interested in the hackerspace and they are really helping. So we thought that we make it an NGO, that it will be supported by the same company that gave us the seed fund. So basically, the head of the board, he will be an employee for this company, but at the same time, he's the head board of the hackerspace. So, and another one from the board, not from the board, he will be an employee in the hackerspace. Only one that will be an employee from the hackerspace. And the rest of the people, they are members and they are open. It's an open place for the community. So one employee in NGO, that will be the main structure.
So one employee. So instead of like having a four-person board, it's one head.
No, because the NGO, it needs 7 people in the board. Here to register. Yes.
I remember we were talking about the NGO in the beginning, and you decided against it at first.
Yeah, because it was 7, it was completely crazy, and we needed people from outside, and we didn't know a lot of people from outside, and we couldn't trust anybody that easily. But to have a background like the company, it's called Ramla Capital. They will make Ramla. I think they will make Ramla Innovation Labs here. So
Ramla stand?
No, it's Ramla. It's in the States. It's in the U.S. It has a branch in the U.S.
Okay.
I will write it now. Ramla Capital. Yeah. So they are basically, they will have a branch for the labs and the innovations. The head of the board, mostly me, I will be as an employee in Ramla, but also who will take care of the hackerspace. That I will keep an eye on the hackerspace. Also, if I want to work inside the hackerspace, it's like a membership or something like that. It's not an employee inside the hackerspace. So that's the main structure that we are building. Members will not be inside the board, definitely, but they will be also able to use all the facilities of the hackerspace. In case of
the funding model, is it going to continue to be sponsored by Ramla, the physical location?
No, it will be still separated as a hackerspace. In case we need anything, I will be inside Ramla Capital, and I will make the connection between Ramla Capital and the hackerspace. Now, in case of any big projects like the art projects or the game projects that we are doing, like marketing for commercial companies, it will come through Ramla, and I will take it to the hackerspace, and we make the projects inside it. That's the main things that we are building now. That's the most important thing for us.
That's big news. How did these decisions get made, and is there anywhere where you've documented meeting notes or something?
Actually, the brother of actually he's my friend. The brother of the founder also he's my friend, and you met him. You met him. He's
Oh, yeah.
Absal.
Remind me.
Absal.
Oh yeah, I remember Absel. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He's a lawyer. So he was closing all the gaps from all in the structure and
Mhm.
thinking about this all this time. So we had a lot of meetings and talk about it all the time and try to figure out how to solve this and how we could register it in an easy way and without a lot of paying money. Because if we want to register it as a limited corporation, it will be a lot of money, and we have no money for that. So we
Who
want to
were
take
the
all
most
the
active people in the discussion in the
and
community? Like who's really coming up and participating?
well, for now we have me, Hamzi, Ala, Basel, Absal. Who was else? Oh, Ala. Do you remember Ala?
Ala, the woman?
Yeah, the
Yeah, I
girl.
remember. Cool, man. That's good. Having six is a good
Yeah,
start for
yeah,
people
yeah.
that are active in decision making.
Yeah, I believe maybe we'll add someone more. His Ratib, maybe we'll add him. He's really good in communications and all these things. So he can really be helpful. So that's the structure that we are based on it now. Um, he is trying to write all the legal issues, all the legal papers now, to be able to register it. Uh, we've been actually the Al-Quds University in here in Jerusalem. They have spaces in Ramallah, and we had a talk with them, and they will donate a space for us.
Nice.
Uh, yeah, yeah, but we will be totally separated from the university. Uh, while at the same time, we will offer a free membership for the students of the university to come and join and integrate their work inside. So yeah, we have to make so many deals with people and
Yeah.
to get this work on. Um, After that, we will register it after we finish all the paperwork, and we will be ready maybe to buy the equipment and
Cool.
start.
Um, how are the visas coming along for Berlin?
Yeah, I got it.
Oh,
Great.
that's
Yeah.
good news. Because Nodas actually didn't get his visas to go to Kuwait. He won this MIT challenge competition thing, and
Yeah.
uh, and so we're really I'm a little nervous that he's not going to be able to get his Berlin visa. But it's good.
No, no, my visa, it's easy here because actually the visa is easy since you're supported with somebody because they need all these papers issues about them. If you have an invitation, no problem.
Mhm.
You have no problem. It's easier than many Arab countries here.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's really easier because actually the Israeli investigation, they made a profile for each one of us, so it's easier.
They just like they figured it out. They already know that you're invited. They just
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's easier.
Sarmudi?
Okay. Hello, everyone. Samar, that's pretty exciting what you have going on. Um, I mean, my life isn't as interesting, fortunately. Hold on for 1 second. Yeah, I'm on a conference call. You want to say hi to my cousin?
Hashtag.
Okay, I'll be done in maybe sooner, but soon. I'll come. Yeah. No, sorry, guys. Yes. So let me get my calendar out. What's going on? I've been volunteering at a bicycle nonprofit for a few months now, and I've been getting into building bikes for people. I'm just going to share my projects that are going on, and They're all sort of community entrepreneurial related. In any case, yeah. So I've been building bikes for people. I see that as like a means for community empowerment. Been researching a few different organizations like that in the city of Detroit that focus on entrepreneurial development specifically. The city just launched this grant portal called Revolve Detroit that partners with people who have vacant storefronts and people who want to run businesses and puts them together so they could potentially do something, at least temporarily.
Like pop-up shop kind of thing?
Yeah, but I think with the hope that it potentially goes longer. There's also been doing, what's the other one? It's bikes and, screen printing. Member of the screen printing collective here in Detroit. I'm doing some live screen printing. Again, Bilal, that's funny. I spent 3 years in grad school, and now that I'm back here, I'm doing the same stuff that I was doing when I left. But an increased capacity, increased awareness. So anyway, been moving on those and just kind of keeping I'm taking them, I'm a lawyer, I guess, and taking the Michigan bar exam in July, so I'm keeping my projects at a minimum until then. But come August, I'm looking at different business development places in the city of Detroit to kind of stabilize myself, but ultimately with an eye on the Middle East. So, after I can amass this type of, as soon as I can, I'd like to get over there and at least work, temporarily. Maybe I can do a few months somewhere. That's kind of like my goals, sort of short, medium, and long.
Cool.
Yeah, that's what's going on with me. I've been working on a healthcare challenge through my fellowship. We just started that. We're sort of design thinking ways to improve the patient experience when they're going between primary care and specialty care physicians. It's trying to take a more holistic approach to healthcare. So, yeah, that's what's going on with me.
So you're designing this with who?
I'm sorry?
You're designing this with who, for who?
So it's a partnership with Beaumont Hospital, which is a major hospital in Detroit. It's a design thinking exercise loosely around healthcare. Or no, sorry, specifically around healthcare. And then there's many of us. There's 7 teams. Within my team, I'm looking at the relationship between primary care and specialty doctors. So your general physician versus your dermatologist, for your skin, or your ear, nose, and throat doctor, or something like that. And sometimes those two doctors, they're trained in their specific field, but they don't take into consideration things like being able to get to the specialty physician's office. The people that we're sort of empathizing with are low-income people with limited means of transportation in a city like Detroit, limited employment opportunities, especially given their health issues, and trying to ideate ways to improve their experience, both from a one-to-one level in their relationship with their doctors, but also on a macro level, how can the health care system partner with other systems, whether that's transportation or more broadly public health, to improve the lives of people who have limited means and health problems. I hope that's clear.
Cool.
So it's interesting work.
I'm just wondering, is it at your office? Is this what your office is doing?
This is in regards to my fellowship, so it's a little separate from my. I essentially have 2 jobs within my fellowship. There's my job as a marketing strategist and research analyst, and then there's the job as within specifically the fellowship where we work together as a cohort as consultants essentially for various social organizations, and we just started our healthcare challenge. And so on Friday, I'll be sort of taking on the role of our person who's like a 19-year-old living with with their family of 5 in a place in North Detroit, and going to go to where their first hospital would be, and then go to their second hospital.
So you get
taking on that persona.
That's cool, man.
Thanks. It's I'm leading the project in my team, so I'm trying to stay on top of all of it. So yeah, thank you. I mean, I'm enjoying it. And yeah, things are great here in Detroit. Miss you guys though. Good to see you.
I wish you were here.
Thanks. Summer, if there's anything I can help with in terms of research for entity types or funding models or something like that, you can shoot me in direct email at, I'm going to put my email here. I think Bilal, you told me about Summer's project like months ago, and we did some preliminary, very basic research, but I'm happy to follow up on that because oh, there we go. Sorry, my computer's pretty laggy right now. Thanks, Bilal.
Sure, I will contact you.
Yeah, I mean, the type of work that you're doing is the type of work that I'm interested in doing. We're both good-looking young Arab guys, so hopefully we can work together.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
That's a great reason to work together. All right, great. Let me think. So for me, this last week has been coming into Berlin and landing and trying to landing. I got into town, and the first day I went to 3 events and saw Chappie, the movie with Gene Antwerp. It was kind of hilarious. But yeah, so there's like the day that I landed, Dale also landed from San Francisco. Dale does like the Maker Media stuff, and so he was talking about Maker Fair in Berlin. And while I was there, I met up with some of my good friends here, Simon and Jay Cousins, and caught up with them a little bit and heard about the POC 21. So the POC 21 is this like sustainability and hacker culture conference, month-long event happening in France. And it was really good to go there because after going there, I heard about these guys, which are doing something that's very similar to the work that I was doing in Cambridge, the Open Source Economy Days. And they did a really good job of articulating mission statements and the values and how those values can transform like the creativity that happens within the open source world to address challenges. Like they're doing what I'm trying to do, but they do it well. And they take a more hackery bent because they're in Europe, and everything in Europe is more hackery than makery compared to the States. But I'm looking to I just had lunch with Hans. Lars? Hans? Let me just make sure I got his name. What? Lars, yeah. I had lunch with Lars today, and it was really great, actually. We had some ideas about bridging the DIY sustainability workshop that we did in San Francisco with the Open Source Economy Days by reaching out to the participants and suggesting that they participate in this like global thing. So the cool thing that I really want to learn from this guy is he's running a global event. I ran one event that's supposed to inform actions by proposing a philosophy and proposing a implementation of that philosophy, which is the DIY sustainability workshop. But I think it would be really cool to try to get to learn about how this event is run and maybe run a global version of the DIY sustainability workshop. And that's good news for me because it means that I'm finding like the next steps. I wanted to make a movement to start making sense, and I wanted to connect open source with real challenges for a long time. But finding people like Lars and finding people like Simon, who's working on that POC 21, so POC21.cc, I think, it proved to me that now's the right time, that there is this climate change. Ha 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 ha! Get it? It's funny, right? around this topic. And so I want to find ways to like jump on board and participate. And so next week I'm going to have some more talks with people in POC 21 and see what's going on with that. Other things that I'm doing here in Berlin is working with Max and brainstorming about how the makerspace can be really effective and interesting and engaging for participants to feel like they have creativity, and also support the needs of the giggers that are coming from all over, like you, Samer, to do stuff at the space. So maybe I want to do another call where we talk about the hackerspace with Samer and other people. No one came the last time we did the call, so maybe we should give some dates and then send it like a couple days in advance and then remind people every day until the call or something. But I think it would be really great to get as many of the people that are coming to Republica to talk about what the goals of the space are, what kind of workshops that they're already running, how the workshops can be thematically cohesive, and what are some of the ideas that we're trying to share with what we're doing. You know, you kind of express an idea when you do something, and I just want to make sure that we're all on board with the same sort of core philosophy of, well, the things that I'm really excited about, and I think some of the other organizers are excited about, is having people feel like they are not just passive observers in a space, and to feel like they are a part of this creative production too, and some other things. So those are some things that I'm working on and thinking about. There's this essay that I really, really want to write that talks about American diplomacy through entrepreneurship culture being presented all over the Middle East. And it's like I was at the Maker Faire in Egypt, the Mini Maker Faire, and it was sponsored by the U.S. Embassy. And the event that I did in Basra was sponsored by the State Department. And I was at the White House in 2011, and they were talking about supporting for-profit Arab companies to go into the Middle East to employ the young people in the uprising. Like, hungry people revolt, and they're revolting, and they're not very good for organizational management. Like, you can't connect with them as a government. And so after Mubarak was ousted, the White House was like, now what do we do? Business? Business? Business. Anyway, so I've been wanting to articulate some of the challenges of funding, because fundamentally the value that is being spent is, the best way is co-development internationally, and that like everyone, like, rising tide lifts all ships, but there's so much disingenuity and dishonesty about what we're actually doing with all this entrepreneurship support. Being like, we're going to solve problems in the Middle East by supporting entrepreneurs. And then you go see, and there's like, that's not happening. And so what is happening is brown people not hating white people and wanting to fly planes into stuff, which is like the core initiative, right? The reason why there's all this funding. And so sorry guys, I'm talking real talk right now, but like,
no, that's good.
Figure out a nice way to articulate these challenges and the opportunities, because there is an opportunity. There's like beautiful stuff to do, and like GEMSI is about like building bridges. There's a reason why there's a bridge there. It's like building bridges between people building bridges between ideas, people, and spaces. And I think a lot of the core values that are articulated in the funding sheets are great, but the implementation is often like, hey, let's get together and take a bunch of pictures and make sure that it like looks like we did something good, you know? And there's like really great pictures, and not a ton of really great initiatives that people can say like, hey, something happened. And it's been 4 years, and a lot of the entrepreneurship is happening in sort of like kind of having a problem right now. Like, there's one of these incubators that takes on a new cohort every 6 months. This last 6 months didn't take on a new cohort. And I think this is something that is really delicate and is tough to articulate, because you don't want to push people away from this like really exciting potential. But I think it's important to kind of just be very clear about why we're doing this stuff, and be honest with whether or not we're doing it. You know what I mean? I think Max and I had a really brief discussion about white lies and when it's okay to lie, basically, and Kurt Vonnegut. But this is an article that I want to write. I was thinking about putting it in the magazine, but it's like kind of an intensely delicate subject that is, I want to do it justice, and I want to do it well. So this is something that I've been thinking about ever since I came back from Egypt, and I haven't articulated in a public way. And this is something that I want to do while I'm here in Berlin next week.
That's a great idea. I would read that and share it amongst my networks.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so that is that. I'm having. Okay, let's take this off the air.